All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to today home buyer webinar. This is a proven path specifically designed for first-time immigrant home buyer. And my apology, there's a missing word buyer right here. But just a little introduce about me. My name is Longley, and today I am going to share with you all the first-time homebuyer immigrant to the US, a proven path that I actually use to help myself and to help many other immigrant first-time homebuyers as well to buy, to save smart, to get the down payment, get the loan approval, and choose the right house. Okay, just like you, I came to the US about 16 in 2009. So that was after 6 years of waiting for the documentation, and it's been a long time. I understand that. How many of you waiting for more than 2 years to wait to come to the US? Yes, yes, I'm sure there's a lot, right? So when I just like you, when I come to the US, just like you, and I'm sure a lot of you working really hard for a better life, right? For the loved ones, for the family here, family in your own country, right? And a lot of you may already think about buying your first home and set that as a milestone for your family, right? But it can sometimes feel overwhelming, especially when you are new to the process. And I want to know, and then I want you to know that I truly understand those challenges because I've been there myself. I'm standing here talking to you as a real estate agent, but back then, when I first bought my house, right, I have the same mistake that a lot of home buyers had, and I will share with you all of those information today as well, so that you can avoid those mistakes, get the down payment, and choose the right house, right? But before we get started, I just want to share with you a story like this. When I came to the US in 2009, by the way, this is the picture of me, girl, just exit the LAX in 2009, right? And yes, the pictures look very blurry because this is the quality of the phone back then. Just so that you know the understanding, this is a very old photos, right? So when I came to the US, there's a lot of new thing. Okay, everything is actually new, including the age restriction. So I came to Las Vegas for the first time, and I was 20 years old and 6 months. So basically, thinking that when I came with my cousin, I think I can do a lot of the crazy thing, right? The city of the sinner, right? Thinking in my head. But then when I came, I cannot do anything because I'm not 21 years old yet. So I have to wait another 6 months, and I should come back in another 6 months, right? So when I came to the US, basically I have nothing. No money, no English, right? Even the ticket, the airline ticket was bought by my sister. My car actually was bought by my mom. She gave me the money to buy a Toyota 1995. It was, I remember correctly, 120,000, something like that. It was 2,100 to be exact, right? And then I living with my aunt. I lucky to have those three women support me at the beginning of my journey in the US. So, and and when I came to the US, I also work at Marshalls. My English back then was horrible because when I was in Vietnam, most as typical Asian family, right? I focused more in math and math and physics and chemistry. In fact, I was like in the engineering school when I was in Vietnam. So I'm very good at those subjects except English. My English was horrible because I keep having like 3 or 2 out of 10. So that's considered an F if you want to translate to the US grading, right? So when I work at Marshalls, in the men's department. So my main job is to organize clothes around the, around the stores. One of the pregnant lady came to me and asked, "Where is the maternity section?" Right? For those of you who don't know, maternity section is actually for pregnancy clothes, right? But I didn't know what that word is. I didn't know. My vocabulary is limited for the thing like hi, how are you? I'm fine, thank you, and you. Those are the typical textbook in Vietnam, right? So, but I want to be useful. I don't want to be, make her feel bad about me. Yeah, I don't know, right? I don't want that feeling. 20 years, remember, 20 years old. I'm too young. I want to prove myself. So I come up with a creative questions, and to be honest, I have to, have a lot of strengths to ask the question: Is it for men or for women? Yeah, that's the question I ask. Is it for men or for women? Remember, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is for. But then she like laugh, smiling a little bit and pointing to the belly, and I understand. That's for her, right? So at that time, it come to my mind that without English, even if I can be very good at maths, at physics, even if I work really hard, right? I cannot make a good living, a great living in the US. And since then I made the decision to practice English every single day with friends, with coworker, with customer as much as possible. And that paid off actually. I graduated engineering school. After 6 years in college, I got my master degree. I got my first job right out of college in one of the best medical device company in the US. Right, they make fake blood vessel, very fancy system right there. I get married and then bought my first house the same year. So that was a very, very useful 6 years for me to not only just learning, get my degree, be getting the income that I need, but also learning about English. Okay, the lesson from this, the reason why I want to share with you the story is this: the best outcome of anything will never happen until you execute the plan. And for someone, right? Until you execute a plan. And some plan is not very easy to execute. And for houses, is normally the real barrier is because of the analysis paralysis that you have, right? As the first time home buyer, you think a lot about everything. You analyze every much of information that you can get to make sure that you get the right decision. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of information around available in the US, right? You can get it from Google, you can get it from your friends, you can get it your family member who already stay in the US for like 5 or 10 years ago. And now with AIs, you can obviously getting information from AIs as well. So there's a lot of information. And that even like the more you think that you get information to overcome the fear of making mistake, the more you actually getting more paralyzed because of those information. And the reason is the misprioritization of the information. Because there's so many information. It may be right, it may be wrong. I don't say all the information is wrong, right? It may be right as well. But because it's all over the place, you don't know what to do first. And that's exactly the reason why a lot of home buyers stop buying. And that's not because you don't have the money. That's not because you don't have the ability to take on the loan. It's not because you don't have the information. It's just so many things, and they're like, I give up. I don't know what to do, right? Because you don't want to make the wrong choice. Because you don't know how to make the decision, how to make the right decision, right? And that is the reason why a lot of people are still renting nowadays, even though they have the down payment saved up, they have the money, they have the ability to get the first house, but it still cannot make that decision. Now, in fact, here's some statistic for you. It's very dangerous if you don't buy the house when you look at the number. So in front of you right here is a chart comparing the net worth of a group of homeowners versus a group of renters. This survey is done in 2025. Okay, the average difference in net worth between the two groups is 43 times different. Right? The average homeowner's net worth is about 430,000 versus the renter only have about 10,000 in net worth. So that's total amount of assets and money and cash and stock and everything that the rental typical has. The gap is huge, 420,000. Now, if you look further, this gap is actually getting bigger and bigger. In 2019, the gap is only about 290 to 87, right? In 2022, the gap is already 386, and now it's 420. So it's not only a consistent difference, huge difference, but it's getting bigger and bigger as well over the years. So renting is absolutely not helping for your family, but it's further creating damage to the family net worth. Now, I understand that some of you may come back to me and say, Long, but my family is not really have the ability to make the monthly payment because of the high interest rate right now. Totally get it. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot have the plan, right? It doesn't mean that you cannot have the plan to start working toward the first home, right? And that is the reason why you have to execute your plan one step at a time. Forget all the overwhelming information that you have from many different sources and focus on execute your plan one step at a time, right? Even though it's not the right time right now, but you should have the plan already in place. So you may ask me, what is that plan, Long? I'm glad that you asked, because today I'm going to share with you the magical home buying process, the 7 steps to your success. Okay? That include number 1, you get in touch with the team. And the 2 people that I highly recommend you to have a conversation with is a real estate agent and a loan officer. All right, I'm gonna go much more detail on how to select those 2 people so that you can have the right partner, not someone working as a salesman and try to get the sale quickly, but the right partner for you. Next is I'm gonna talk about you should have the plan to save up for your down payment, and it's not just any number. It has a strategic amount. Strategic number that you can do in a determined amount of time so that you can get your goal done quickly. Next is to talk about the mortgage options, because the mortgage impacting, unless you have money to pay by cash, right? That's we don't need to talk about here. But if you taking on the mortgage, is actually the number 1 expense in your family in the future. So you have to make the right choice for what option is the best for your family. Next is I'm going to show you how to exactly choosing the perfect house for you and for your family, instead of just maybe sometimes you get the emotion over and make the wrong mistake. I did that, by the way, and I will share with you a story in a minute. Next, after we get the house, I'm going to tell you exactly how to make the right offer, a fair number that you get the win, the seller get the win, and everyone in the win-win situation. Then after that, We follow a specific procedure to do the inspection, to do the appraisal, to complete the loan, to get the paperwork signed, and celebrate on your closing day. Next, this is the bonus step, okay? If you like me, after you have the first house, a lot of people have the chance to use the house to earn additional income and use that as a foundation to building wealth for your family in the US. So those are the 7 steps to your success in the US. Okay, now for today's webinar, we won't have enough time to go over all the 7 steps, but we will focus. I believe these are the most 2 important steps in the 7, which is saving. Okay, learn how to save for your down payment and choosing the perfect house. Now, for those of you who are interested in learning all 7 at once, I do have a buyer guide document right here that you can scan and get it for free. Absolutely. Learn all about the steps that I determined about before. Okay. Additionally, in this buyer guide, there will be the presentation for today's webinar, as well as all the tools available in the webinar as well. Okay, so this is a very useful resource that you should download if you haven't yet. Okay, with that, let's dive right into the first step, which is expand your saving. Okay, so I want to share with you a story. Okay, so as a student in Arizona State University, I was lucky to get scholarship, right? And even better, at ASU, they actually have the luncheon in which they invite all the scholarship recipients and scholarship donors to come and meet and have lunch together and talk. I happened to be I was, of course, coming to the luncheon and have a conversation with my sponsor. The name is Mel and Lisa. Okay, and after the conversation, there's one question I'm curious to them, like, how are you able to, back then I was like only 25, 26 years old, so I don't know anything about money, how to control money, how to use money. I know how to use money, to spend money, but not to like earning money, right? I was like, how much do you make a month to be able to support this amount of scholarship, not just 1 year, not just 2 years, but every single year for the last, I don't remember exactly, but I believe that would be like 5 or 10 years before I received that one. And they still doing that today, by the way. So what happened? How can you be able to afford that consistency, right? So they invited me to their family house to because it doesn't have enough time. So okay, let's go to their house and they're gonna talk about the secret of making wealth. So I'm excited, very excited, because I was about to back then I was just graduate, I got a job already, planning for my weddings, right? Everything seems to be on track. I'm so excited now that I'm gonna be able to know the secret about making wealth in the future, right? So I'm very excited to come. But here's the thing. A week before I came for the appointment, I bought a brand new Lexus IS 250 2015. Okay, the reason is that I've been driving the Toyota, 1995 for the last 6 years already. Now everything is in place, so I think I would spend, money to buy. The only problem is this: the Lexus is $66,000. My income, I got an offer for $65,000 a year. And can you imagine that? Now that I look backward, I'm like, how can I make that decision? I only make $65,000 a year, and I purchase an asset at $66,000 with a value of $66,000. So that's a huge mistake, but I didn't know. So I'm very proud driving to Mel and Lisa's house, like Mel and Lisa. See, I already know how to spend money, how to use my money, right? Because it's a very fancy car. They has to like it, right? Everyone loves fancy car. Why wouldn't they, right? But then at the dining table, they actually talk to me about the secret. There's nothing secret. It's mainly they keep saving, they use mutual funds, they purchase mutual funds, and they utilize compound interest as their vehicle to build wealth. And eventually, as time passes, that money accumulate more and more and more. And that is the secret. It's actually not a secret. That's everyone well, most of everyone know about it. It's just the matter of whether they are able to do that or not, right? So and then also talk about how bad debt is not good. An example of the bad debt is the Lexus, because you purchase a 66,000 Lexus, the value of the Lexus drop immediately after you drive off the dealership, as well as you not only every monthly payment that you make to the Lexus dealership is a negative into your is a negative in your bank account. So and that's the reason why I took the advice. I actually sold the Lexus after that, and then 2 years passed. I pay off we pay off actually, as my wife and myself, student loan, 200,000 dollars student loan that we pay off, and the Lexus was sold as well. What I want to say is this: sometimes when you make money, you need to use, right? You need to spend right away because you think that you deserve it. So that is causing a lot of problem. Because when you own a house, right, a house is an asset, but there's also coming with a lot of maintenance that you have to be ready to take care of. So if you are not in a ready mode, a dream house could become a nightmare in the future. And your saving behaviors are actually the roots that nourish your home ownership tree. Your saving ability, your saving skills are the roots that nourish your home ownership trees. I believe that is one of the most important financial skill that you need to have to be able to have the house in the future. So that's actually the reason why I always talk to all of my buyers to have you go through the steps to have you have the down payment, and how did you come up with the down payment, right? Some people have the very lucky that have parents or family member to gift them, but I also ask them, okay, let's do a little bit exercise, and this is the exercise that I want to share with you today as well. This is a saving exercise, which is the 5 steps to save for your down payment. But the goal of this 5 steps is not down payment only. I think the end goal is more like to shape your financial ability, to shape your financial control, to shape you in the like a control mindset of your money. Because just like body fat, if you don't control money, it can get very wild as well. The byproduct of this 5 steps is the down payment. Okay, but here is the 5 steps. Number 1, the income insight. Okay, this is very critical, because you have to know how much you make, and by the way, how much you take home. Because when I was offered an engineering job at 65,000 a year, I didn't get the 65,000. As you know, that was a W-2. So the tax, a portion of my paycheck was tax, medical expense, social security. So I end up maybe only, 40,000 a year only. So the more important number is the take home, not the gross. okay? Because the crows is something you never touch, right? They're already gone. So you only spend the amount. These are to setting the limit that you can spend on a monthly basis. Next, after that is the expensive, right? You have to track what your family already spent. Better to look at the record for the last 12 months, especially for those of you who are working as a 1099 self-employed business as well. Look at the 12 months and calculate the average. Okay, that is also one of the trick, because obviously the self-employed, they don't have the stable income, so it's very difficult for you to know the income on the monthly basis. But if you get the average of the 12 months, that's fairly accurate. Similarly, use the 12 months to calculate the expense, because for example, in the Christmas time, you may spend a little bit more, right? Maybe in summer, you spend more for the travel, right? Maybe in the spring break, you didn't spend a lot because you don't go anywhere, right? Folks, that's the reason why we need to do 12 months average. Regardless, these are the first two elements that help building the financial foundation. The next is a very boring topic, which is the budget. Create a family monthly budget. You know the income in, you know the expense. You have to look, right? If at the end of the month, when you compare, you get 3,000 and you spend all like 4,000, where's that one extra 1,000? You probably have to use the credit card, right? So that's not a smart move. That's not a smart spend, right? But if you do 3,000, you earn 3,000 and you only spend 2,500, you have 500 in saving already. So that's very good, right? Because the reason why it's good is you want to control not only how much you spend and make sure that less than the income you get in, but also saving, okay? So the goal, the target for step number 4 is to save 1,000. So come here, a lot of people say, Long, it's very easy. I can give you 1,000 right away. It's not a matter of giving me the 1,000. It is more important as you getting trained into the behavior, right? And now why 1,000? 1,000 is not a too big number that get everyone discouraged about the process, right? But it's not too small neither for that a lot of people get, not taking this serious because it's too easy, right? So that's the reason why 1,000 is in place. And after that 1,000 is the down payment discipline, okay? In which I recommend a 5% at least. But of course, this 5% is dependent on your situation as well. Because I know that you can do 3% down payment, or sometimes you can do 0%. I wouldn't recommend the 0% down payment, right? But you can do the 3% minimum. You can do 10, you can do 20 as well. But I don't want you to make a goal of 20%, and it takes like 10 years for you to do that. It's not a smart goal, right? I want it to be, difficult, but it's not like not be able to accomplish within a year or two. Okay. Now, some of you may ask, what is how much of the 5%? Right? Well, that's a great question, and that's the reason why you need to have an agent partner to talk to you about the criteria, about the area that you want to buy the house, and determine the home price average, and therefore you reverse engineer to calculate how much is the 5%. Right? For example, if the house in the area that you buy is about 400, that means 20,000. If it is 500, that means 25,000. So those are the things that you need to discuss with the real estate agent partner that you have in the first step. And of course, we didn't have time to cover everything today, but in the buyer guide, if you have the chance to scan that, you will be able to get a copy. Okay, but for today, for this step, you don't have homework. You didn't think that you come here for homework, right? Yes, you do. Okay, start, track, plan, and save with intention every month. Okay, so start doing that today. Okay, I know it is June 10 already, so it's already 10 months in, but this is a perfect time to gather the information about the total income and the total expense, especially for those of you who do self-employed, right? Gather all the paperwork, all the documentation for the last 12 months to get those numbers and prepare for July. Some of you might ask, I don't have the template for the budget. Great. Scan the buyer guide and you will be able to get a copy of the template that I prepare for you as well. Okay, so that's step number one. After you have the down payment, okay, the next step is probably talking to a mortgage partner to be able to determine the appropriate loan program that fits for you. But we're gonna skip that step, okay, because I want to focus on more important step, which is the choose your perfect home. Okay, choose your perfect home. That is important because choosing the wrong house could cost you thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I actually have a story as well. Back in the day in 2016, after I graduate, and I was planning to get married, right? 2 weddings with the same lady, by the way, just in case you wonder, one in Vietnam and one in the US. The decision was we need to find another house because my mom back then, my mom and I renting a mobile home, my wife and her mom also renting an apartment. So if we get married and we don't buy a house, that means my wife and I have to go to rent another apartment. That means we're gonna have 3 rental payments to 3 different landlords. Doesn't make any sense. So the decision was to buy a house. Very easy, right? Now, at first, we think, okay, the criteria is, since we're buying a house, we want it a little bit closer to work because I live in Chandler back then, and the workplace is like in North Phoenix, which is about 45 minutes away from Chandler, right? So we look around, okay, to get used to the buying process. So we look around Chandler, and we came up with a fantastic idea to buy a brand new house, because all of the resale homes back then was like too small, too dark. Is not fitting my wife's desire. So we had to look at the brand new house. So we went into a community called Taylor Morrison Ranch. For those of you who know, that is in Gilbert, Recker and Elliott. Okay, that's mistake number 1 already, because that's actually further away to my workplace, right? It should be like 50, 55, 60 minutes without traffic. Right? Traffic, it would be worse, but I didn't care much because even though this is my number 1 criteria, I don't care. I just want to get a house, right? So when I came in, we're like, okay, the model is great, right? Every single design is great. We make the decision right away to sign the contract the next day. So we booked the appointment with the sales agent, okay? We come back tomorrow morning to sign the paperwork. We did actually think we should sign the contract on that day. I'm not sure if it is a good idea or bad idea, but luckily she has to go home. So we didn't sign a contract that night, and we booked an appointment for the next day. But then something happened at night, because my parents actually want us to take them to the community to take a look at that. Right? Typical Asian parents, they want to in the know of everything, right? And lucky for us, at that night, we find out there's a horrible smell. And later we find out that the smell was from a dairy farm in the area nowadays we call East Mark, right? And the smell is not just one night. It doesn't smell anything in the morning, so we didn't see that. We didn't smell that. And it's not just one night, but it's like every single week, every single day. So it's very often. Okay, my wife immediately say no, she cannot live in this. And had I didn't come back that night, right, I would have signed a contract the next day, right? and then stuck with that smell for months and years before its mark was developed. Okay. The point from that story is your criteria and the routine at the compass guiding you home. Not anything, not your emotion, right? Because remember, I made two mistakes in that story. Number one, choosing a house that is further away. That's violation of the criteria. And number two, I didn't do my due diligence enough. Okay, I didn't check on my routine. I didn't do the inspection on the house before I make any decision to buy. That's mistake number two, right? When you see the house, you have to follow the criteria that you set, and you have to follow the routine to be able to go to the house that you can call home. And some of you may ask, so what is the routine? I thought choosing the house is just, whether you like it or not. Well, I'm glad you asked. And here's the routine that I want to share with you. Number one, of course, you have to clarify the criteria. That is very important. Especially you have to determine what is the must, what is the nice to have. And when something is not within the must, you don't go look at that. Okay, you have to pass it. Don't ever look at it, because it is the emotional trigger. It will be, your brain will create a chemical that make you, okay, even though it is not, just do it, right? Because you're so in love with that. And that when you do that, it's an emotional decision, not it's your heart decision, not your brain decision anymore. Right? So you have to clarify your criteria. I do have a template for you to give you some suggestion about what the features could be a must, what the features could be a nice to have as well. If you download the buyer guide, you will be able to have the copy of that. Daily discovery. Okay. Make a commitment on a daily basis. You have to follow, you have to check out houses every day. Now, some of you might say, I cannot do that. Well, here's the thing. With internet nowadays, with AIs nowadays, everyone seems to be very easy, right? This daily habit is not meant to go to the community or to go to the house, but it's mainly look at the email, look at the subscription, look at the online apps, whatever apps that you feel comfortable with using, right? Check on the houses on the daily, because I'm sure every house get on the market every day. Like every day, there's new houses get on the market, even if it is not in a criteria that you set in a filter, right? Take a look at that so that you know what kind of competition, what kind of available inventories that you have. All right. Next is the walkthrough weekly. So make a commitment at least once a week, you go to check out the house. And if you don't have the house, any houses that you like to check in person during the daily discovery, then just check out the neighborhood that you like. Maybe interested in this house, and then you want to see the neighborhood and I don't like the neighborhood at all because it's so horrible. Many times it happens as well. Even though check every single box about a house, but the neighborhood is horrible, or maybe there's some specific feng shui that you don't like. Okay, so you have to check. You have to make the commitment to walk through the neighborhood or the house on the weekly basis. And of course, this is just the minimum. Okay, you can view more than one or two, depending on whether you have the availability or not, right? But this is the minimum recommendation. On the monthly basis, make sure that you make at least one offer. Okay, there's 30 days already. You have to have at least one offer. Or maybe if there's no house, absolutely no houses at all for you to make the offer, maybe discuss with your agent about the market, the pricing, whether anything changed on the market or not, and bring up the question quarterly in the calibration meeting with your agent. Because if you spend time, to do all the previous 4 steps, and after like 3 months, you cannot find anything that you want to make an offer, there's probably something wrong. Okay, something wrong with the criteria, something wrong with the understanding of the agent to your favorite, to your something is not matching, and therefore you cannot see the house that you like, and the agent cannot help you identify the house that you like. Okay, so though in those meeting is the one that you sit down, look at all the houses that you already see with them in person, right? Or maybe just discuss about that. Why don't you like it? Why do you like it? Should we adjust anything? Maybe increase the price, maybe move to an adjacent neighborhood, things like that should be in the conversation as well, to make sure that it is still fresh and nothing wrong in the buying house process. Okay, well, your homework for this step, for this pillar, is to define your must-have and the nice-to-have. Okay, and like I said, I do have the template for you to suggest you some of the features of the house that you can use as a must-haves, as well as the nice-to-have as well. So make sure that you download the buyer guide. This one has way more information that you need that you need as well. By the way, it's very detailed of what you need to do from step 1, 2, 3 to 7 to get to the house, as well as all the templates available that I mentioned. Okay, and that I just want to invite you to, if you feel like the webinar, and even though after you download the buyer guide, you're still confused about anything in the material that I provide, I do more than happy to sit down and discuss with you about the next step, about any questions that you have as well. And during this call, I basically gonna sit down, emphasize the importance of monthly payment, gonna work out all the numbers for you to understand, as well explaining a much more detail about the real estate transaction process. And of course, answer all the questions that you may have. And by the way, this meeting is completely free, okay? But I do have the limit, because I cannot, meeting everyone every day, because I do have clients to take care of as well. So the first come, first serve, the sooner you book the appointment, the sooner you can secure the slot, and we will be able to meeting you and helping you. Okay, to close, I want to share with you a story. Okay, this is a story about one of my clients. I was actually help him close a house in May of 2026. And the story of him is he actually came to the US only 19 months ago. Okay, and he bought a house already. But before that, in 2 or 3 months in, he already called and asked me about the home buying process, asking me for my recommendation about the lenders. And I give it to him. Oh, he actually researched more lenders as well. And some of the lenders say no, they cannot do that. Some of the lenders say yes, they can do that. It's mainly because more no than yes. Okay, more no than yes. Because the reason is that he only in the US for like 2 months or 6 months. And most of them say you have to wait until 2 years to be able to, get the mortgage approval. But then he didn't, feel discouraged. He continued research. And with my recommendation, he was able to get connected with a loan officer that was able to do the loan. And we were able to get the loan closed with his lender in 18 months, after 18 months in the US. And what is funny, a week after we got on the contract, his car get, damaged. he got into a car accident that he's actually not at fault at all. He was just standing there waiting, but it just happened. Luckily, no one in the family have anything, and he closed the house, right? So my story is my point. The point of this story is this: there's a lot of information about you know buying a house and how difficult life is, right? My advice is this: build your future based on the current information, and don't ruin the present based on the future information. Because a lot of people think, okay, the interest rate gonna drop, or maybe the interest rate gonna increase, or maybe the home price gonna drop. Oh, there's gonna be more option in the future. There's some, like, in all of that, we never be able to find out whether it's true or not. Maybe it's true, but you may have a not disadvantage of that waiting, right? So based on the current information to make the decision about buying a house. If it is a good time to buy, if it check all the boxes, and that is gonna be in my discovery meeting with you, right? If it check every financial need for the family, then you should act right away. So instead of waiting for something that may or may not happen in the future. With that, thank you so much, everyone, for watching today's webinar. My name is Longley. I'm so happy to share with you all the information that we have today. If you have any question, feel free to book a call with me, and I'm more than happy to talk to you about your real estate need. Thank you. Have a great time.